WRHU.
Radio Hofstra University.
For 88.7 FM WRHU, I'm Max Sacco, joined by our new alum of the week, Chris Caron from the Spring 04 class. Chris, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. This should be fun.
So first question here, just so we can get to know you a little bit. What did you do at RHU?
Sure. When I was at WRHU, I was there for 3 years. I joined in, my training class was fall of 2001. I actually studied at a different college in my first year of college. So I jumped right into the training class as soon as I got to Hofstra. From there, I knew I wanted to do sports right away. I was all about sports writing, sports journalism. I was a print journalism major, but I wanted to be well balanced. So I wanted to get involved with the radio and the TV station as well. I wound up going more for the radio side of things once I got into WRHU. And in the beginning in sports, you know the deal. Like you have to earn your keep a little bit. It was learning the board. It was eventually being able to do some updates, doing stats, and then slowly but surely you get on air a little more and a little more. By my junior year, I became the assistant sports director. So I was producing the locker room, which was one of the best experiences that I had in college and in life. I love doing that. And then, of course, I was calling games as well. I was doing a lot of women's basketball. I was the lead play-by-play my senior year for women's basketball, color analyst for men's basketball. Back when Hofstra had football, I was the lead color analyst for football, which was also a blast. And then I loved baseball and softball, so I did a lot of play-by-play and color for those. Baseball team wasn't great back then, so as much as I loved doing baseball, it wasn't great to call a bunch of losing games. So the softball team was actually the funner thing to call. A lot of CAA championship games. We traveled a lot with them once they went to NCAA tournament. That was a blast. But pretty well rounded in all the sports. And then producing the locker room was the big thing for me.
Chris, just to get to know you a little bit more too, you talk about you didn't start at Hofstra. You did go somewhere else for a year. What made you come to Hofstra then? So we can just get to know what made you come to Long Island. And then also, what made you take that jump to RHU? Because you see a lot of people who maybe go to Hofstra, go to the School of Communication, just don't go to RHU.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, RHU was a big factor in me coming. The communication program at the school I was at wasn't as strong as I thought it was going to be. And Hofstra was originally on one of my lists when I was applying for college. And I'm from the area. I'm not from Long Island, but I'm from Westchester, so I live close enough there. I knew a lot about the school. A lot about WRHU. And then actually once I got to Hofstra, I wound up rooming with someone who was already in WRHU, and they kind of led me more down the path of how to get enrolled quickly, how to get in that training class right away. And then from there, it was something that I loved being a part of.
All right, simple story. And yeah, RHU always seems to bring a lot of the talent to Long Island, so definitely get that one for sure. And now, Chris, you have obviously learned a lot at RHU that you've transferred to your professional career. What would you say are maybe the 2 or 3 biggest skills WRHU taught you?
I've worked at local news. I worked for MSU Varsity for 8 years. I worked in Major League Baseball for 7-8 years, assistant producing, board opping, everything. So working on the locker room and producing and leading a team, it's not just about what you're putting on the paper sometimes. It's how you manage people. It's how you manage technology. Using all the tools at your disposal, realizing what tools you don't have and what your crew is capable of, and hopefully building up to where you want to be. But organization was gigantic as well when I was at RHU, and not just on the locker room, when you're preparing for games as well as balancing your class schedule. There were many nights where I would be in my room making a game chart for a basketball game the next day until 3 a.m. that morning after having written a history paper or whatever it was. So it's prioritizing and organizing for what you want to do. You might miss out on some social endeavors that you want to do, but you gain so much with the people you work with, and those are the people that have become my best friends over the years for having gone through those experiences together. Other things I learned is be talented at everything you can possibly be talented in. So learn everything you can. So whether it's the board, whether it's how to be shorter on your updates, or how to tee somebody up on the air, how to produce, how to make a rundown, how to hang a XLR properly, whatever it is. Those are all skills you'll need for after you're out of college, because in this field, like, you need to know a little bit of how to do everything. Even if you want to be strictly on the air, most likely your first few on-air jobs are going to require you to get your feet dirty a little bit, to be able to handle the camera and be a one-man band, or to be able to lead a group of people as well. And to be able to lead a group of people, you should know how to do some of those other tasks that other people are going to be doing as well. So those are some of the biggest things as well. And then just working as a team. I mentioned it before, the locker room stuff and leading a group of people, but also when you're on the air, having chemistry with your broadcast partner. If you're doing play-by-play, knowing how to tee up your color analyst. If you're doing color, knowing when to jump in and work with your play-by-play analyst and your board op as well, and your engineer and all that, and your producer. So there's a lot that goes into it, and you learn so much on the fly, and you learn from the older people, and then as you become the older person, you start handing down some of that stuff that you learned as well.
No, I definitely get that. And I know a lot of my older people from my years have handed me down the same advice you've given me. So
Sure.
Definitely still transferable even today. But Chris, the big final question here.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on it a bit earlier too. Those first couple times you get in RHU, you're working assistant engineer, working the highlights. You're just getting started before you can get to those on-air roles. What is the best piece of advice you have for somebody who wants to make that jump right away in RHU, dive right in and have a big impact? The best piece of advice you have to make a big impact right from the start?
Listen and learn. Make sure you're listening to the people who have been there and been working on it. As much as you think you don't know. So it could seem like a struggle that you want to get on the air as quickly as possible, and you want to do play-by-play for basketball right away, or soccer right away. But take your time, take notes, analyze what the person who's doing that job is doing, and realize what it takes, how to get in and out of breaks, how to do readers, how to work with your color analyst. There's a lot that goes into it rather than just getting on the air and calling a big play. Practice makes perfect, and just be aware of your surroundings and take it all in, and learn how to do everything. It's all important.
All right, and I think that wraps up perfectly. Once again, everyone, Chris Caron, class of 2004, thank you very much for joining us for the Alum of the Week series.
Max, thanks so much.